Humanator.
I'm Buster.
And this week in Toku, we're going to be discussing Shin Ultraman's success, tons of Figuarts news, and the reason I quit social media. But before all that, Buster, how are you doing?
Okay, that last one was a shock to me. Cause like you're still posting. I don't know. I mean, me personally. Before we get to that, I am doing pretty chill. Like, my semester just wrapped up, so I'm on summer break. So I'm just kind of vibing, making videos, watching shows, catching up with stuff. Finally saw Everything Everywhere All at Once. Started the Spy X Family anime, very charming. You know, just vibing. Also been watching Toku, but we'll get into that later.
Nice.
What about you, Mr. Vac? I know you're not having the best of weeks.
I am actually really great. Today was a great day.
Hooray! That's good. The redemption arc.
It's as if one man screamed, "Shut the fuck up," and then millions of voices were suddenly silenced.
Yeah. The power of the vacuuminator.
But we'll get into that a little bit later. Before we dive into the news, though, let's get into a little bit of good housekeeping here, folks.
Yeah.
I'm never going to say it like that again. Kira Major vs. Zenkaizer vs. Senpaiger is out on DVD and Blu-ray in Japan, and the RAWs are floating around the internet, but we do not have subs yet, so, like, if you're looking forward to that, beware of spoilers. We'll talk about it as soon as subs are out. I'm currently avoiding spoilers on it just because, like, I know I'm finally getting Marvelous vs. Zox. All I need to know is that it's coming. I don't need to see the raw version of it before I see it subbed.
I will say, I've seen a couple clips, but like not really committing to clips, and also I haven't seen nobody's posted that fight yet, which makes me a bit disappointed. I was like, come on, like if you're gonna spoil something.
I saw somebody post it, and I immediately closed the thing I was looking at when I saw that.
Good. Okay, so at least we know it's in the movie.
Yeah.
Because for a second I was worried, just like, wait, was that cock tease? I was like, oh, thank God, it's actually in the movie. Speaking of movies, Ultra Galaxy Fight Destined Crossroads will be streaming for free, exclusive limited free stream, and it'll be up for rental on Ultraman Connection for US viewers.
Yeah, this is going to be happening Thursday night. I forget the exact time. I think we covered this when it was originally announced. But,
yeah, and they're going to be showing the first two Ultra Galaxy fights, and then they're going to be like, all right, here's Destined Crossroad. I'm not sure if it's going to be the entirety or the first half of it, but either way, exciting stuff.
Yeah,
they're gonna have,
I will try and watch this because I'm going to be I'm going to be pulling an all-nighter that night anyway because the Obi-Wan Kenobi show drops that night. And for those of you who aren't aware, because I almost never talk about Star Wars on this show, Obi-Wan Kenobi is my favorite Star Wars character. I'm super excited for that show. But, it gives me a good excuse to watch a bunch of Ultraman content, too. So I'll try and be home in time to watch that from the start.
Yeah. And I will let you, there'll be interviews, too. They always bring up guests for this. Speaking of Ultraman,
I wanted to ask you real quick before we move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Are you going to be doing, like, a watch party in your Discord server?
I have no idea. I will let you know. I don't probably won't. I'll probably just be live tweeting. But I can maybe call up you if you maybe. I don't know. I'm not really into Discord VCs at the moment.
Fair enough. I was just curious. But yeah, let's get on to the next thing.
Yeah, Shin Ultraman, a huge spoiler for the film, has already gotten an SH Figuarts announcement. So if you don't want to get spoiled on it, beware of the SH Figuarts.
Yeah, I guessed what it was off mic, and personally, I don't think it's a huge spoiler that the thing that it is in the movie, given the kind of person Ano is and how the Shin movies, or the first Shin movie went, but it is something that wasn't in any of the trailers, so you know what, fair enough, it's a spoiler. So we're not gonna talk about it anymore on this show, except to say it's out there. Beware.
Yeah, I will say it looks nice. It looks nice. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
And now on to your. Wait, we got to do the shilling.
Yeah. Let's talk about the fact that, hey everybody, This show is brought to you by Modular Media, the creative co-op that Buster and I are a part of. You're probably listening to this on the Modular Media YouTube channel, in fact. So if you are, please give us a like, comment down below with your thoughts on some of the stuff that happened this week in Toku. Subscribe and ring the bell in order to enable notifications and find out whenever a new episode of This Week in Toku or any other Modular Media production is released. You can also follow us on Twitter to keep up to date with things. That's at the Modular Media. And you can join our subreddit r/Modular Media. But that is all the shilling I have to do for this week. So let's go ahead and get into the news with a bit of like an underwhelming announcement, I guess I could say, because I haven't seen anyone talking about this, but there's going to be a new Power Rangers mobile game. It's called Power Rangers Morphin Legends, and it's basically going to be a character card collecting style RPG.
Gotcha game.
From what I've gathered.
Gotcha game.
Yeah, it's a gotcha game.
Yeah. No, I don't know. We already have Legacy Wars, and that's kind of a gotcha, and that's fine. I don't know. I don't really care for mobile games that much, so I'm just like, it's there.
I tried playing the mobile version of Battle for the Grid back when it first launched, and I did that for like a week, and that's the most I've ever gotten into any mobile game. I wasn't even into Pokemon Go back when that launched.
Yeah, I honestly, I think the only mobile game I really got invested in was a mobile version of a console game, Dust and Elysian Tale. Great game, by the way. Go pick it up if you have it if it's on Switch and PS4. Anyway, but yeah, I'm not really like a... I'll probably check it out just to be like, what is it? Just a Power Rangers game on my phone. Okay. Maybe I'll fiddle around with it for a week and then give up, like I do every mobile game.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and move on from that then, since it doesn't seem like anybody's super interested in this, to something we kind of touched on last week, but we didn't have a proper news story for it yet, which is that Shin Ultraman has outperformed Shin Godzilla's free-day opening in Japan. Following much anticipation, Hideaki Anno and Shinji Higuchi's Shin Ultraman released across 401 Japanese theaters on Friday, May 13th. In just 3 days, the film has outdone all previous theatrically released Ultraman films at the box office and is currently outperforming Shin Godzilla from 2016. Shin Ultraman has collected a big-ass number of yen.
Yeah, I remember today it's up to 2 billion yen.
Yeah, and it's basically just like a huge improvement over the number that Shin Godzilla pulled, and I believe at the time Shin Godzilla was like one of the highest grossing Japanese films of all time, and it's like...
Yeah, this is the highest grossing live action film from Japan this year so far, so that's like a huge thing. And also, it got so much, it's actually, like, in its first weekend, it was in the top 5 movies worldwide. That's huge.
And that's absolutely bonkers, considering that's just from domestic Japanese sales. They haven't really put this out in too many foreign markets, as we've repeatedly complained about on this show.
Yeah. Hopefully, like, they'll see the success and be like, oh, we gotta release this in more theaters worldwide, so, more money.
Yeah, and, like, I don't want to... Because I don't usually care about award shows in general, and I don't want to get too optimistic, but I'm just saying, like, the awards community seems to be more receptive to foreign films, and if what I'm hearing about this movie is true, which is that it is very much in the same vein of Shin Godzilla, but it's even better, I think we could see, like, the first American award nod for a Japanese film out of this in a long time.
I mean, like, Drive My Car... got from Japan, got like a bunch of noms last year, so...
Well, that shows you just how much I know about award shows.
Yeah, but maybe just like a Toku film will get like a big awards buzz,
Yeah, which is cool nevertheless.
Yeah. Yeah, still need to see Drive My Car, by the way. Anyway, speaking of Toku, SH Figuarts Zenkaizer picks, they look cool.
Yeah, we got a ton of SH Figuarts news this week. The first of which being just that, like, Zenkaizer is finally releasing. Some of the first in-hand photos out of Japan are coming. And, this thing looks every bit as good as it did in prototype, except for one added thing, which is that I somehow did not realize until people started getting it in hand that the cape was soft goods. I am super happy about that because I have people who know me know I've complained about Figuarts and soft goods a whole lot.
Yeah, actually, that's probably the reason. That's probably the breaking point of I'll eventually get this someday. You know?
Yeah, granted it's not posable, it's just a piece of vinyl, but still that's much better than the hard candy shells that used to come with stuff like the original Eternal.
Mm-hmm.
But moving on, the Figuarts brand has also announced that they will be doing figures for Kamen Rider Black Sun. I don't know that this was ever in doubt by anybody, but now we have official confirmation there will be Figuarts out of Black Sun.
Yeah, specifically, like they'll announce them on June 16th, which might give us a hint, like of when, well, not June 16th, but well, maybe we'll finally get a release date for what the hell this is, or a trailer soon. So yeah, because kind of like lacking on some trailer news.
That is true. That is true. We're in a bit of a lull, but we'll probably get more as we go further into the summer. But hey, let's talk about some female Figuarts news because Figuarts did a double shot announcement of female characters from Zero One getting Figuarts. We're getting Kamen Rider Arc Zero and Kamen Rider Zero Two Izu version. And
Wait,
for those
Arc
of you
Zero
who
was
Arc
girl?
Zero was Rin. Remember,
Oh yeah.
Guy's assistant lady. She briefly became Arc Zero.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I guess. I guess I completely forgot. It's been a while. No, it hasn't been a while. It's been a month, but I don't know. I don't keep those specials in
That
my
wasn't
brain.
even in That Was Special. That's in the first special Ren appears.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But
Yeah, these look cool. I'm very tempted to pick up the Arc Zero suit because Arc Zero is like my favorite Zero One design.
mhm.
Just
Con-
like it.
Conversely, I'm very tempted by Zero Two. Just I don't have any Figuarts of Zero One, but I do really like the idea of getting one and displaying the two next to each other.
Yeah, that would be very cool, as the kids say. And like, you're a figure photographer, so it's like, good for figure photography.
Yeah, Figuarts are like one of the things that I think initially boomed figure photography too, because they were some of the first super articulated figures in the modern sense.
Yeah, like the modern idea of figure photography is what you're trying to say.
Yeah. But the Figuarts news doesn't stop there because there's also a little bit of Ultra Series news. We're getting Space Sevenger, which is how Sevenger appeared in Ultraman Trigger when he was being piloted by Haruki.
Yeah. You mean Ultraman Z? Or...
No, because remember in when Haruki shows up in Trigger, he's piloting he's piloting Sevenger at the start. There's some slight differences to the suit here, and of course different accessories.
Okay. I blanked out. I completely forgot that was a thing in the Trigger special.
That's all right. Trigger's pretty forgettable.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's not really a whole ton to say about this because there's only like slight changes from the original Sevenger Figuarts, and I mean it's like if you're really into Trigger for some weird reason, or you just really like Sevenger's design, you'll get this. I am not either of those demographics, but I'm not going to disparage those who are.
Yeah, Sevenger's cute. I'd be tempted if I had the spare change, and I'm like, I can use a Sevenger right now. But like, I have like other Figuarts stuff. I'm like, those are higher priority at the moment.
I like how you say that. Like how my dad would say, I could really use a smoke right now. Oh man, it's been a long day. I need a Sevenger.
But like I have like other higher priorities than a Sevenger.
That's true.
Yeah.
But our final bit of Figuarts news is we've got the full reveal for Figuarts Kamen Rider Revice Thunder Gale. I still think this is a really bad suit, but Figuarts did as good a job as ever translating it into an action figure.
That sure is a Thunder Gale SH Figuart.
Yep.
I'm indifferent to this suit, like, honestly. I just, like, neither hate nor love it.
It's just weird seeing so much neon green on a rider form that's not 01. You know what I mean?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. Like, it does really feel like a 01 form.
But moving on to a bit of Revice toy news proper, DX Vistamp Collection 03 has been announced, which are the Vistamps for one of Demons' upgrades and the Vistamp you need to transform into Over Demons, which basically confirms, hey, those sounds are going to be in the Demon's Driver, or already are in the Demon's Driver.
Or maybe the Veil Driver? I don't know, because the Demon's Driver and Veil Driver are completely different.
Well, the graphic they show here is the Demon's Driver, so I assume the Demon's Driver, which I can't remember if it's released yet. No, it released a few months ago. So
yeah, and they just announced a reissue of it with this announcement.
Yes,
And also the
are
power
probably
up,
in there.
and the power up for demons is actually based on Kamen Rider Black, which is pretty neat.
Yeah. Did they ever? I don't recognize this. Did they ever use this in the show, or was this like a hyper battle thing?
I think this is just like you know how they have those weird form exclusive things, like just toy exclusive things. It's one of those.
Okay, the most you'll see of this is in a Gamba Rising arcade machine.
Yeah, basically like the bunch of geoforms that never got used.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on to some more collector toy news, which is that the Shogukan modeling project is now doing GaoGod as their next release, which is just another Gao Ranger mecha that you can buy like a mini Paw version of that's super high end. And yay! For those of you who only watch Power Rangers, I believe this is Kite.
Yes, this is Kite, the suit they used for Kite, which I mean, like GaoGod, that's a cool name. I have no idea how he is in Gao Ranger. But
I've watched the first few episodes of Gao Ranger, but obviously GaoGod doesn't show up till way later. And honestly, I'm not a big fan of this suit. Like, it's an okay mecha design when you take the colors away, but I don't feel like the colors play really well as a mecha.
Yeah, the colors are a bit like they're trying to be like godlike, but like it's just kind of like it feels a bit like haphazard. Mainly because we already have the pre-existing colors for the bright colors of the original mecha, but this one feels a bit muted in comparison.
Yeah. I do love that they showed the original model kit next to the gray model for the new one. I've not seen them do that with one of these updated mini paws ever, and it's a really cool comparison. I always dig that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's like how far we've come. Like, look at it. He has posable knees now.
Yeah, you can actually make him draw his bow back, which is cool. I always love when action figures can do that because figures were never able to do that when I was a kid.
Yeah. Like now we can make all the Sentai mechas do the 3/ bajing, bajing, bajing. Only to very recently. But like, still we're getting to that point.
Yeah. But let's move on to a bit of American toy news, which just happens to cross over into our world, which is that the Hasbro Marvel Legends line is going to be doing a fan channel exclusive figure of Japanese Spider-Man. This was revealed as part of a fan first live streamed event on Instagram last week, and I think as far as like our community goes was unanimously the most exciting thing out of that because they revealed a lot of really cool stuff in that stream, but this just happened to be the tops.
Yeah, I think just both for like even Marvel Legends collectors and just in general like just both Marvel Legends fans and Tokusatsu fans. This was just the top thing of that stream, and like it made me pre-order my first Marvel Legend.
Nice.
So now I will, because I could not resist it. I have a Toei Spider-Man poster. I love what I've seen of the show. Still need to finish it. So I'm like, I wanted this.
I need to start it. I've watched the behind the scenes documentary that's on Disney Plus, and I have immense respect for the show. And I've actually gone ahead and pre-ordered this as well. Because there was a bunch of Spider-Man reveals like a month or two ago that I was like, okay, I want this. I don't know if I want these though, and I definitely don't need this. And one of those, I don't know if I need this, but I kind of feel like I should get it things was them doing a figure of first appearance Spider-Man. And I mostly just wanted it because it came with a bunch of web effects. And then all those web effects are in this box too. So I'm like, oh, I can get this, and it's a character I actually want to display too. It's not just another 616 Peter Parker.
Yeah, he has the arm belt henshin device, which is so cool. Mm-hmm. And now, like, if you want, now we gotta get like some HasLab Leopard. Oh god, that's not gonna happen ever.
That'll never happen in a million years. But God, we can dream.
Yeah.
And this is also a fairly new figure, too. I think the only bit of reuse here is, again, those web effects parts, but also the torso is from their Mr. Fantastic body, but the limbs and head are all new sculpt, which is really cool.
Yeah. This is like it kind of like if you take away the arm display, it kind of works as an evergreen Spider-Man, but like with the arm display, it just makes it whoa. That's Toei Spider-Man, and that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna put him in my kind of Spider-Verse-y, all the Spider people together display, just because I like having as many different Spider people that aren't just on a different Peter Parker together.
Yeah. Very nice to see Takuya get his due. I kind of hate that like this is when Marvel Legends starts the price hike.
Yeah.
Because it was like $28 like without tax when I went to go pre-order it. I pre-ordered it off at Hasbro Pulse's website. Where did you pre-order it off?
I got it off of Entertainment Earth, and I don't remember exactly how much they were asking, but I think it was a similar price. And I mean, like, that's not too terribly much more than Marvel Legends have been recently, but it is a bit more, and I can understand the frustration there. I just had to go through it a little sooner than you did.
Yeah. It doesn't
And I
help that
mean,
this is my first Marvel Legends, so I'm like, I'm probably gonna be if this figure doesn't impress me, I'm gonna have to be like even more selective about the line.
yeah, the only thing I would change about this, honestly, just from the preview images we have, is I wish he had an unmasked head. I'll never display him that way, but I would love it if they sprang for the actor likeness.
Yeah, and kind of like lean more into the tokusatsu roots and the fact that Hasbro has a Toku property under their
Yeah,
belt. But you know, it's oddly the biggest Hasbro reveal was not from Power Rangers this week. But hey, what you gonna do? Life be
yeah.
weird sometimes.
All right, let's get into this stupid thing, shall we?
Oh God.
All right, so I'm just gonna read this whole thing off, and then I have some stuff to say, and I'm sure Buster has some stuff to say, and then we're gonna move the fuck on.
Yes, because we are. Just go read it. Read the thing.
Austin St. John, MMPR Red Ranger, federally indicted on wire fraud. Austin St. John, aka Jason Lawrence Geiger, is how I'm going to say you pronounce that last name, aka the Red Power Ranger, according to the federal government. So, hey, that's a thing now. Wow, real classy here, Toku Nation. Has been federally indicted on wire fraud by the U.S. government. In a memo released today, St. John was indicted and possibly arrested, but at least summoned to appear in front of a federal magistrate judge for conspiracy to commit wire fraud. The United States government alleges that Austin St. John, along with others, conspired to create fake information to apply for COVID-19 relief money, specifically the Paycheck Protection Program, PPP, and misuse the funds, i.e., personal investments, leisure, etc. If convicted, Austin St. John could spend up to 20 years in a federal prison. All right, so this was a huge fucking thing in a week full of huge fucking things for the world of Tokusatsu. Because the day before this, we had a huge bout of drama regarding a certain favorite season of Power Rangers of mine that we're not going to get into here, but I'm just going to say the 1-2 punch of this and the way our fandom reacted to it is what ultimately led to my decision that I need a good, long, possibly permanent break from social media. And I don't mean I've deleted my Twitter account or I've abandoned it or any other websites. I just mean I uninstalled everything but Instagram from my phone after unfollowing everybody but close friends on Twitter. And I now intend to only check social media once a day after I've gotten home and settled from work to retweet stuff related to Modular or answer any messages and just generally make sure I haven't been canceled yet.
Yeah, I'll probably do that.
And I'm only keeping Instagram around because realistically, that's the most enjoyment I ever get out of social media. I like looking at cool images. I like figure photography. I like fan art. I like cosplay. I like nudes. And there's nothing wrong with any of those things. What is wrong is all the constant drama and headache and stress. And so I'm keeping the one-stop shop for the stuff I like that also allows me to cross-post to other apps, and everything else can stay at home for a very limited time of just checking up on things, because realistically, I don't even really need Facebook or Reddit. I just need Facebook Messenger, because sometimes for some random reason, my mom and sister decide to message me there instead of just texting me. where else was I going with this?
Do you want to get into like your actual thoughts on this or nah?
Yeah, I'm gonna in a second. I'm just making sure my thoughts are thoroughly wrapped up. Oh yeah, like I'll go into this. I'll go into the social media stuff more on my Patreon podcast at the end of the month. Patreon.com/the Vacuuminator. But just generally the way, because I said my reaction to it, but I didn't say like what I actually think about this or what my reaction to the way our fandom reacted, which is constant jokes and that came off in very poor taste to me. Now, I'm not going to come to Austin St. John's defense here. He doesn't need that. He's a grown ass man who either did or did not do this. Currently, he is accused and he will probably stand trial or submit a plea bargain for it if that's a possibility. I don't know how these cases exactly work. In my opinion, it's not our place to pass judgment on these kind of things or act like it is fact and joke around and ridicule. It's in the same vein to me as stuff like what's going on with Johnny Depp, what happened with Hulk Hogan a number of years ago. Whether or not what they did was right or wrong or they actually did it does not matter. It's not our fucking business. It's between the person who did this stuff, the government, and whoever they may have actually directly hurt. Do I think Austin St. John should appear on future episodes of Power Rangers or at Power Rangers conventions if he's found guilty? Probably not. But again, that's something that's outside of my purview. That's Hasbro's decision to make. Yes, us as a fandom can voice our dissent or consent to them making whatever decision they make. But right now, I look at this and I go, that sucks. Kind of funny that it basically blows that Illuminati news we were blowing a gasket over out of the water. But other than that, we need to get on with our day. And the fact that the Power Rangers fandom as a whole spent almost 2 whole days doing nothing but making shitty jokes that were in very poor taste, in my opinion, just led to me ultimately making the decision that I'm really done with associating with the fandom directly and this kind of stuff. The only reason, and I've had this feeling for building for a long, long time, I just decided to go ahead and bite the bullet here because it was at such a fever pitch. And to be honest, I stayed around for as long as I did because I wanted to make sure we always had all the news for TWIT. And Twitter has become the like best resource to find news stories as they originally break. Not just for Tokusatsu, but for anything in our modern age. Like, so few people write articles about actual news anymore that I felt like I had to stay on social media for TWIT, for No Prize, and just for generally keeping up with things. But I no longer care about that as much as I care about retaining my own sanity and not saying hastily, angrily typed out things that I may regret later. Because I've had some time to think about this. I've been thinking all day about what I was going to say about this kind of stuff. And largely you are getting the rehearsed version here because I want to make sure my thoughts are clear and they're said as well as they can. I think this combined with what I will only refer to as the SPD incident kind of proved to me in the last week that most of the people in this fandom aren't the respectable, good people I thought they were, and I don't want to associate with them anymore. And if that means I'm not going to be as informed on the things that I like as I would like to be, so be it. We'll come on here and we'll just talk about the new releases and the big news when it breaks. Like, we'll probably talk about the new Kamen Rider show whenever that finally gets announced, but you're not going to see every single little piece of news and rumors and leaks covered anymore because I'm fucking done with putting myself through bullshit for it. All right, Buster,
Yeah.
you can go now.
I don't know how I'm gonna follow up from that because that was a that was a very meaty. All right, I guess I could get into a bit more specifics. Because let's just start off with the case itself. I don't really care about Austin St. John. He kind of had some weird beliefs during the 2020 rallies shebang, and that kind of proved me. I was like, I don't like this guy. And I kind of like a boomer, very boomer. So I'm like, I don't really care to see him get arrested. It's like, well, that kind of came out of nowhere, but I don't really care. Now, so that's basically my whole thoughts on the react. Now, the reaction to this, man, I don't know if I'm getting old, but this is the first time I've seen people joke about a thing, and I don't find any of it funny. I find it more annoying. Maybe I'm getting old. Maybe it's just, as Vac said, in poor taste. I mean, just none of the jokes really cracked me up, and it's just, and it just felt like. Just none of the jokes really cracked me up, and it's just, and it just felt like this is bottom of the barrel shit. This isn't clever. This isn't like witty. This isn't like even random. This is just dumb.
It almost came off as pathetic because I mean, like normally I would want to get in. The me of a few months ago would have gotten involved in the conversation and been like quote retweeting stuff and telling people to shut the hell up. This, I just contented myself with taking screen caps and like making a mental list of like, okay, this person's a shithead. This person's a shithead. Wow, you think he got caught red-handed. You think that's a funny joke? Okay, fuck you. I'm never talking to you again.
Yeah. And it just like, man, it just kind of came off as immature on our part. Just be like, instead of like kind of like, oh, we already like, instead of like, it just like, it felt like we were all losers. It felt like we were all losers in mother's basements. It's just, I don't know. Wasn't funny, wasn't great. It just was annoying, and it just was like, oh, and weirdly enough, people were relating this to back to the franchise. It was like, oh, well, I guess the MMPR thing that wasn't even confirmed, and it's like, also, people are like, well, this is what Hasbro gets for milking MMPR. Those things don't have correlation. I get maybe for a joke, but it's not a great joke.
This is something he did in his own time. That's like if back in, oh god, I forget what year it was, but back when it that's like if you go back to when the Rick Medina thing happened and you say, oh, that's what Saban gets for casting him in Samurai. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Stupid. Let's move on to good Power Rangers news, because we're done with this. I don't want to get into celebrity gossip, but just, oh, actor shithead? Okay.
Yeah, like this is barely even news in relation to this show. We're only talking about it as much as we are because it became a flashpoint for me, and I apologize for making it take up so much time on the show, everyone.
Yeah.
But moving on to actual Power Rangers news, the same day that shit happened, the official Power Rangers Twitter posted a clip from content we already have for Power Rangers Dino Fury, basically teasing that we might be getting the rest of Dino Fury Season 2 this very Friday. That's not been confirmed. There's no Netflix schedule to back that up, but they basically said this tweet is, infused with Sporix powered by Void Queen, Void King battles the Power Rangers, and he's copied all the Dino Knight armor's moves. Who's ready for second half of the season to drop? That's bad grammar. And then the clip has the Dino Fury logo with the word Friday.
Okay, here's the thing. Every Friday since the season dropped, they've been doing like, here's this episode, and here's the next one. Here's of all the Netflix drops. So I'm pretty sure this is like June or something. We're gonna get this, or very soon, basically. Like basically, it's like, all right, we have like a week's. We did all, like, if this was weekly released, all the episodes have been released. All right, now we gotta wait for a drop, which I'm pretty sure is pretty soon, because did they say summer or fall? We're getting the next season. Not next part.
My gut says they would say fall, just because that's usually when we get post hiatus content for Power Rangers. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's in.
Yeah, basically very soon. I'm pretty sure we're gonna get some kind of announcement now that they've like basically done all these Dino Fury Fridays. Like, this is this episode, like, tweets. So yeah, hope it's good. Hope it ends on a strong note.
I'm ready to see how Dino Fury ends, because it's been a bit of a bumpy road with season 2 so far, but I'm confident that the show has what it takes to finish strong.
Yeah, like we already got a leak for a couple figures that may or may not be coming soon.
Anyway, let's get on to our final bit of news this week, which is our obligatory bit of Ultraman Decker casting. Sia Miyazawa has been cast in Ultraman Decker as
Kazaki.
my eyes literally landed on it as you started saying it.
So,
It's fine. But she is going to be another new member of the Gut Select team, the new pilot for the Narsdesi in this series, who is basically going to be the older sister figure of the team. She's a bit of a leading authority figure. She's the vice captain, and the actor seems fairly excited, as actors in Japanese things usually do when they're first cast, because they have to for publicity reasons.
just all actors in general.
Yeah.
But like, also, this is another Ultraman Saga character, or like person who's been in Ultraman Saga, and she has the same name as in Saga. I have no idea if that means anything because I've not seen Saga, but
Oh god, do you think we're gonna get multiverse stuff in this show?
I mean, the Ultraman series is already a multiverse when you get down to it, so I wouldn't be surprised. If only for the obligatory Trigger crossover, we know what's gonna happen.
Yeah. Though, like, I'm saying, like, they could encounter the other Sawa.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. I don't know about Ultraman Saga or who Sawa is in Ultraman Saga, so I got nothing. I'm just like, here's an idea.
All right, let's get on to the new releases, shall we?
Yeah, let's get into the actual point of the show. Kamen Revice, episode 36. Humanity stands at crossroad, to each their own resolve.
This episode was great.
Yeah, I have no idea why people say Revice is dropping, because this was a banger episode.
No, guys, Revice dropped. It's picking back up now.
Yeah, it did drop. Like, episode 26 through, like, in that kind of, like, speed, it was a bit, like, meh, but it wasn't even, like, that horrible, minus the Subaru cameos. But, like, now we were getting, like, now we're getting back to, like, ooh, this is good.
Yeah, good shit.
Yeah, basically, this is how the Overdemon's debut should have been with Hikaru.
Yeah. Oh my god. Such great characterization for Agalia and weirdly Daiji. Like, I'm really into Daiji again because he just gets dumped on this whole episode while at the same time trying to maintain his resolve, and it's like, oh god, I haven't related to a Toku character this hard in a while.
Yeah, I do understand that. I still think I kind of need to see where Daiji ends up to, like, fully get his arc, but, like, I'm feeling a bit more positive on Daiji, I'll admit. Like, yeah, I'm feeling less, like, frustrated with him.
It's interesting because I actually went for a walk after I finished this episode, and the whole time I just couldn't help but thinking, because of what Daiji goes through in this episode, like, man, Revice has a really good grasp on free sibling structure, like how those archetypes tend to function. And I say that because I am in a free sibling structure. I have an older sister and a younger sister, and I'm the middle child. And I think, like, that's part of why I related to Daiji so hard in this, because people will tell you the stereotypical thing for a middle child is that you're always trying to please everybody. And I definitely feel that way sometimes. So seeing a Kamen writer kind of go through that really hit me in a place, especially because I was then able to recognize oldest sibling and youngest sibling traits in Sakura and Iki that I hadn't really picked up on before.
Also, I should mention, maybe the reason I dig Iki so much is that he's the oldest, and I'm the oldest in my three sibling structure too. And I'm also kind of a busybody, kind of like having to, like, please like the main, like, for Iki it's him trying to please trying to work at the spa, but for me it's like family shit and stuff. You know? Yeah. So it's like, yeah, I just this show really gets, like, sibling relationships, which is, like, very good, because I'll be honest, Tokusatsu has a weird history of siblings, like, just Japanese media in general, from what I've seen, like, has a mixed relationship of how they handle siblings in media. But yeah, and then Agalia's debut. Now, we already got the suit leaked, and we weren't, here's the thing, you kind of need to see more of the suit in action for it to kind of not become too horrible, because it's a stinger. There's a stinger in the middle of the helmet, like a bee.
And I gotta admit, I still don't love it. Like, it's no the bee, but
yeah,
it is a much better suit than I initially assumed. Instead of being a 3 out of 10, it's like a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Like, her, like, little mini arc throughout the episode, while still focusing on the other characters and main plot, was very well done. It basically was like, man, I actually care about Hana. Like, I wish, like, why did we need Demons again? He didn't even appear in this episode.
Yeah. And I love that they don't rule out the possibility of Tamaki becoming a writer. It's just like, no, now is not the right time. It's Agelia's time.
Yeah. Maybe Tamaki will take over demons, but like they should have done that first. I don't know.
Well, we also see at the end of the episode that George is working on a mass market demons driver.
Oh yeah. Oh, Tamaki demons. I'll be interested.
Yeah.
Interesting. I was kind of surprised that wasn't like a final form stamp. Where's the final form stamp? Oddly enough. It's just I don't know. Weird.
I think we've gotten our first hint at what it's going to be with Akemi saying to Iki that he needs to use Gif's power to defeat Gif, which lol writer tropes, but also like, okay, so he's probably going to say to George, how do we do that? Can you make me a Vice stamp that does that?
Yeah. We already know what probably what the form will finisher will look like. Like finisher will do to that. But like they kind of did the same thing in build.
Yeah.
But like that's fine. That's fine. That works. I do like that trope. But yeah, a solid episode around. Some cool action, good characterization. Just another nice build for Revice. Again, as I say, this is kind of the point of the writer show where we're kind of this is just a bunch of battles mixed with character bits because it's the main villain's enacting his plan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean I think that's all writer, but usually writers at the beginning it's here's a character focus for the first half and then here's action for the second half. But this is kind of mingling the two more so as we get further into the show. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Alright, now for the spin-off that's finally ending. Kamen Rider Revice Legacy, Kamen Rider Veil, Episode 5, Final. What did you think?
I quite enjoyed this. I felt like this was a decent ending to the series. It capped it off in a logical way that lines up with the way the characters are presented in Revice proper. And overall, I'd highly recommend checking out this miniseries. I still agree with our take that we've had since the second episode that this should have been a 2-episode filler arc in Revice proper, but as its own thing, I feel like this was very enjoyable, and I would recommend it to people. Even if you're not interested in Revice proper, you could probably enjoy this on its own.
Yeah, it's a good it's a good side story and it's a good expansion of Revice while still being its own dramatic thing. And heck, maybe it'll get you to be hooked on Revice. Yeah, I still wish this was in the show proper, but hey, what you gonna do? That's the way the Kamen Rider side content cycle works sometimes. I will say, I did hear the spoiler about basically, we're gonna get into it now, where the marriage is faked, and I was like, oh, that doesn't sound good, but I was like, okay, when I see it in execution, that sounds way better than actually, everyone was making it sound.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just good drama, good, we get to see, George's dad pre-rehabilitation of him wanting to atone for his sins, more just kind of seeing how kind of demonic he was as a scientist. It's great stuff.
And it's a little bit overly making me suspend my disbelief that he's able to not be just screaming in pain for as long as he was and giving that speech, but it also works, and I'm just glad that they actually showed the explosion, because, when they say, oh, he got disfigured in an explosion in Revice proper, I was like, we're never going to see that. They're not going to show us that.
And they showed it in the side content, because that's how we roll, baby!
Yeah. And then, just as far as, the marriage being quote-unquote faked thing, I wasn't expecting to see a marriage at the end of this show. So that didn't bother me, and it also kind of made sense given how weird Genta's past and life story is. How do you make those documents materialize? And then also I feel like we as a society have kind of gotten past the traditional construct of marriage, or at least we're in the process of moving past it. So you probably only really care about there being a proper marriage if you're super religious.
Yeah, I can see that. And again, it was handled much better here, than people were screaming about. So, because granted, the first time we heard it was an out of context. I don't think the subs came out yet, but yeah. Again, the ending was a bit weird. It was a bit weird, but not too. It wasn't as weird as people were making it out to be,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, good miniseries, definitely. But I'm gonna say it, it's the highlight of Revice. One of the highlights probably because there's a Revice good show. Yeah, there's some good stuff in it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's worth
it,
checking out.
yeah, it's kind of like for me right now. It's kind of like standard good for writer. It doesn't like there is moments where it surpasses, but there's a bit too much, a little weirdness here and there, like a bit like oh this episode was a bit there, or oh this character arc could have been done better. And I'm like it's kind of standard good instead of like surpassing its limits. Even though there is like the Revice is being like with like Sakura and Hana is kind of being revolutionary in some aspects. You know?
Yeah, because they gay as fuck.
Yeah, and also actual female writers with development and good things to do, and they they got a miniseries announcement. They also got like a miniseries announcement. I don't think we saw the news, but yeah, they're getting like a miniseries, and Agalia's getting like a black form in there, which is interesting.
Maybe that's where Tamaki will become a writer. Maybe he'll have like a
Revice with the Veil special. I wouldn't doubt it because they did say those specials are going to be under the Revice Legacy banner, so you know. Very possible. Alright, peak fiction showtime. Avatar Sentai Dawn Brothers, episode 12, The Lying Moon.
This is better than I was expecting.
Yeah, like when I heard, like I was like, oh, idol episode, oh, this will be cute, but I was like, oh, this is some good shit, you know?
I was so ready for Inoue to just brush off the Dono Nitajin debut like he's been brushing off the Robotaro power up, but he put in the bare minimum of effort, which is more than I was expecting, so I'm very happy. Because, like, realistically, all you have to do is have one of your characters be in on it, and everybody else go, what the heck is happening? And I'm cool. Then you can just be like, he explained it to them off screen between episodes.
Yeah. Honestly, I was referring to like the idol subplot because that was cute. Like, and I was like, I just like Taro's entire subplot of if he lies, he'll basically die and come back to life.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
And as far as the idol thing was, like, I am completely ambivalent towards idol content 90% of the time because I haven't even seen that much Japanese media compared to some people, but I've seen so much idol shit at this point that I'm like. I'm past being weirded out by it. I'm past getting annoyed by it. I'm just like, it is what it is. There's like 3 different idol stories, and you're gonna tell one of them, and it'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't the reason I was worried. It's more like, Inoue can be pervy sometimes, you know?
That's true.
Yeah, but like, I'm glad, that was a respectable way it was done, here. And it was, very, like, emotional at times, and it was very cute the way it ended. And like how it tied into Taro's plot was pretty funny. oh dang! I just realized I need to make a meme about like Taro, like when he falls down, and it's like that one meme of those guys who are like, "What's happened?" And it's like his tweet came out of it became too popular, and now everyone who isn't following him is retweeting. It's just that kind of me.
I do not know that meme, but okay.
I swear, the one where it's like 2 guys, they're pulling over like unconscious body. It's like, what happened? And it's like, insert joke here, and it's like, whatever. Also, the Onitajin debut was so good. I'm so glad I didn't watch a clip of it beforehand.
I love that it's normal sized for the first couple minutes. That felt like. When the mecha is already doing so much fresh new shit, that felt like so invigorating to have him fight regular sized mooks for a second.
Yeah, and it's like I do love I think like Zenkaizer really like gave them some mecha experience, specifically of like mecha on the ground suit acting to be able to do this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
And it's just that's a really cool concept, and it kind of makes the mecha feel like extra Kamen Rider forms when you get down to it, like it gives them more of a purpose. I mean, there's already a story purpose where it's like, oh, sometimes the monster will grow big and we gotta like fight them as the mecha in order to properly separate and save them, like the person who's been controlled by the bestial. But there's also like, just now we have like a more of a like they can use it big, but they can also use it small. So there's like more variety. And it was pretty funny seeing like all the little heads react. And it made me like, oh, I might need to get this mecha when I can find it. It made me tempted. Because it looks good.
I'm still wanting to grab one. It's just a matter of when I'm going to be able to get up the funds and it will be available at the same time.
Yeah. Maybe it'll be on discount after Dawn Brothers ends. I think I can wait that long. I think I can wait.
Yeah, you know what? Me too, honestly.
Yeah. Because it's good. I just like I already just like, but like my financial situation and like other things I want.
Yeah,
It's like,
and I mean, like, the initial hype has died down.
yeah. Also, Sonoi and Taro get some like good character interactions this episode, which is building to what Shirakura calls the first core of Don Brothers ending. Because the next episode's gonna be like he's kind of like structuring it like he says there's like cores, like anime cores, where it's like 13 episodes, and then here's a 13-episode arc. He says this is the first arc of Don Brothers will be ending next week, and it's like the preview shows a fight between the Brain Persons and Taro, which is like what's gonna happen, you know? Are we finally gonna get a 6th announcement soon? I feel like June scans are gonna come in any minute now. They'll show probably the 6th Don Brother and Revice's final form.
Yeah, they'll probably be out by the time this episode comes out. I mean, like, that's another consequence of me leaving social media. We probably won't always be talking about scans because I only ever see them on Twitter anymore.
Yeah, I can help you like get some of the news if you need.
I would appreciate that, but don't walk through hell on my behalf.
I'm fine. I'll be fine, hopefully. But yeah, Don Brothers, they don't miss. They don't miss, baby. Yeah. Should we get into old stuff and toys?
Sure.
Hey, so actually, I got my package from Taka this week that
Nice.
Vac influenced me. Let's start off with the small stuff. Let's start off with the goodies. I got a Build Gamberizing card, and it's pretty cool. It's Build on his bike, and it's like a metal card. It's much like it's not as cheap as I thought it would be, and it's very cool. I have it like posed on my shelf. And I also got a Kamen Drake from Kabuto vinyl, and it has little posable arms. It's actually like from Kabuto's like original run, which is really cool.
Oh, cool.
And it's like, from what I've seen of Kabuto, Drake is a really cool character, so I'm glad to have him. Like, Kabuto is actually one of the first writers outside of Dragon Knight I discovered. I still haven't finished his season, but like, I'm very happy to own some Kabuto merch.
Yeah,
And then
I still haven't watched Kabuto myself, and I mean, like, Drake is probably my least favorite out of the Kabuto suits, not having context for them, but Kabuto is a show that, like, none of those suits are outright bad, so it's cool that you got that.
Yeah, and speaking of suits, let's get into the main stuff I bought. I finally stepped into the world of SH Figuarts. The main one I got. Now these are both like from the 50th anniversary. These are both 50th anniversary reissues. With like little like translucent parts to them, where it's like parts of it are like kind of translucent. At least that's how I think that's how the product describes them. I just got them because they're like, hey, do they work as SH figures? All right, I'll get them. And the first one I got was my personal favorite Kamen Rider, one of my first favorite Kamen Riders, my favorite Heisei Rider at the very least, Kamen Rider Build. And this is a great figure. It's very well polished. It comes with multiple hands. The little crank up on the build driver works. Like you can actually crank it up, which is that'll be super cool for stop motion. I think you can take the bottles out. I haven't tried myself, but I think the bottles are removable. And then the feet, there's the articulation is like so good. And right now I have it posed in this kind of like where he's kind of like he has his hand and he's like stroking his hair, like his little like antenna. You know that pose? And,
Yeah. That's like his signature pose, I think.
Yeah, one of his signature poses. Like his Build has a lot of poses.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I remember hearing that the Build Figuarts turned out pretty good, and I still really want to track down Tank someday, but that's going to be an expensive venture.
Yeah, I mean the Genius Figuart cost 100. I don't they're not even making Tank anymore. So
yeah, I think Tank was like a Soul Web exclusive.
Yeah. Yeah, for a good representation of Build, I am really happy I have this. And I also got Saber because I like Saber, and I was like, oh, I'll get that one too. And it's pretty good. I think the book is also removable, so you can like put books. It is a bit spiky for my liking. But that's just the nature of the suit. There's just a lot of points to it, but it's a good suit, And the sword accessory is super cool. You can't quite fit it into the driver like the show, but I think that's a separate accessory you need to get differently to do that. Because the sword you have is a bit long, and I think, but like that's fine because it's a good representation of the sword from the show. Taka, like it was a great experience. Like it was lots of padding and like as you mentioned, lots of padding. So yeah, buy from Taka's toy store. He's a cool guy.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I did just check. Kamen Rider Build Tank was a Tamashii web shop exclusive, and it originally retailed for $70. So it's probably upwards of 200 now because that was in March of 2020.
Oof. 2020. Yeah. That's actually 2 years after Build. Man, they really took their sweet time on the Build Figuarts.
Yeah. Well, the mid grades, I guess you would call them. They always kind of drag their feet on though.
Even though they just did Revice Lightning.
Yeah.
I think that just made that figure art even weirder.
Well, they haven't done Jack Revice yet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That figure art was already weird because they never did Jack Revice, which is like the undersuit of like Revice Lightning. So it's just like odd. Yeah. Also watched Kara Major this week.
How was Kira Major?
Pretty solid. I get why people like it. It's not my personal favorite. I don't think it's the best of the 2010 Sentai. Or did it start? I think it started in 2020. Yeah, it started in 2020. Never mind. I don't think it's the best Sentai in the last 10 years because, in my opinion, Sentai has done great work over like the 2010s. But yeah, it's pretty solid show. My favorite is Blue Shigeru. He is a movie actor and he is very charming in his dorkiness. I love him so much. Silver was okay. Green was fun. Green and Pink were fun, although Pink's focus episodes were a bit like all over the place because they kind of always get hijacked by something, and it's kind of like oof. Yellow was a surprisingly good leader. Like they really did a good job of convincing me he's like the second in command and like a very good leader and commander. They really like it. He's the gamer of the group, but like they really put those like esports leader skills to like use in battle. Like
he's got those pro gamer strats to win the day.
Yeah, and also I kind of find it funny seeing it in context. The gif of him flossing, that wasn't him. That was his Kirame Stone possessing him. Because like there's
I had no idea that was a thing.
Yeah, because the mecha can actually talk, and they have they actually get a couple focus episodes focusing on the mecha, so you still get like and they still like show up, they still talk throughout the episodes, so you're still like they're not as big of a character, but they're still like you can still feel a relationship between them and the ranger and their respective stone, even though. Greenstone sucks. He has a great voice, but God, his personality sucks. He's basically simp. It's like I think he might be a worse simp than Canalo, which is like, oh, that's something. Because at least Canalo's like kind of has some cool moments. He barely gets any cool moments. It's gross. And then Red is really good. Red, well, Juro is a really good Red. And the villains, they're cool. They're cool. I feel like I feel like I really liked them by the end, but like they could have done a bit more in the beginning. But yeah, Kara Major, good show. Would recommend, and I can't wait to see them interact with the Zenkaizers.
That's good to hear. I'm not gonna like rush to watch it, but I'm glad to hear that you liked it because I pretty much wrote it off straight away because I remember thinking that all the costume design, not just like the suits, but like the civilian costumes looked really cheap to me. And I was really weirded out by like the cobbling together of civilian careers for all the Rangers. It felt weirdly overdrive to me.
Well, like the thing about it's kind of like supposed to be like you are like it's kind of like they're all supposed to be creative like works that make people like inspire people and stuff. If that makes like it is kind of cobbled together, but it's still like these are like the shining superstars of the world and stuff. Okay. Yeah, talk about Kamen Rider Black, because you're still watching that.
I watched a fuck ton more Kamen Rider Black, episodes 28, 29, 30, 31, and 32. There's really not much to say at this point. I've said about everything you can say about Black on its base merits. I'm just waiting for Shadow Moon to show up, and they're starting to tease it super hard, so maybe it'll finally happen in the next batch. I don't know. I'm not looking at spoilers, but Kamen Rider Black is a good show. It's just very story of the week, so there's not a lot to really talk about once you've exhausted all the talking points that I have over the course of this show so far. Hopefully Shadow Moon will show up soon and I can be one of those people who won't shut the fuck up about how much they love Shadow Moon.
Yeah.
Well, I think that is everything.
Yeah.
unless news broke while we were doing the podcast, but screw checking that.
Yeah.
Buster, why don't you tell the good people who you are and where they can find your content?
Sup, I'm Buster Corp. I do a random assorts of videos on the internet. I recently uploaded a video explaining the YouTuber categories Iceberg, because I guess you could still do that, and because I guess those videos are still popular, and I want to check them out and stuff. But yeah, you can check out my channel at Buster Corp. I also review Tokusatsu, don't worry. And if you want to just follow my Twitter, why not? I'm close to 600 followers.
Nice.
Sorry, that's kind of, I'm sorry I cobbled that together, but yeah.
It's fine. This whole show is cobbled together. I'm the Vacuuminator. I make YouTube videos about things and stuff, primarily, hopefully, maybe in the future, Tokusatsu. I do have a new video in the works. I've started kind of scripting some stuff out in my head. And if you're on my Patreon, patreon.com/thevacuuminator, you probably already know what that is and what I mean when I'm referring to scripting some stuff out in my head. But you'll see that when you see that. For now, just go ahead and check out my backlog at youtube.com/thevacuuminator and subscribe. Also, follow me on Twitter because I'll promote things more on there. And that's all. At the Vacuuminator. And I'm on Instagram posting photos of my dogs and action figures at the Vacuuminator with an underscore in there. But folks, that is it. Finally for this week in Tokusatsu. We've done it all. We've seen it all. We've been to the mountaintop. And it's time to go home. So we'll see you back here next week for whatever happens that week in Tokusatsu.